Well, welcome to the 700 Club. For today's top stories, let's go over to the CBN newsroom.
Gordon, President Trump's Twitter attacks on some of the media and their response has dominated headlines in recent days. But Senate Republicans are still pushing ahead with the key element of the president's campaign agenda, repealing and replacing Obamacare. Amber Strong brings us the story now from Washington.
Despite last week's setback, Senate Republicans are working on a plan to replace President Obama's Affordable Care Act. Some GOP senators say one option is to repeal Obamacare now while they work to come up with a replacement.
We don't repeal the regulations. We don't repeal the subsidies. Now there are Republicans getting so weak-kneed they're saying, oh, we're afraid to repeal the taxes. What happened to these people? They all were for repealing Obamacare.
President Trump agreed, tweeting, "If Republican senators are unable to pass what they are working on now, they should immediately repeal and then replace at a later date." But the president's agenda was overshadowed by his ongoing smackdown of the media. On Sunday, Trump tweeted this video of an old WWE match. In it, the president takes down a figure with a CNN logo. Now many are calling the president's tweet incendiary, with some in the media saying it incites violence against reporters, and congressional critics going after him as well, like these Democrats. California Congressman Adam Schiff at POTUS mock video of him attacking press even after a GOP candidate did exactly that. Where will his downward spiral take us? And Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, the modern mode of communication is not the issue. It's the crude, false, and unpresidential content. But a member of the Trump administration, Homeland Security Advisor Tom Bossert, disagrees.
I think that no one would perceive that as a threat. I hope they don't.
The president addressed his ongoing battles with the media in a speech honoring veterans Saturday.
Fake media is trying to silence us, but we will not let them.
He then pointed out his administration's strides when it comes to reform within the VA. And he spoke to the importance of faith in American history.
And above all else, we know this. In America, we don't worship government, we worship God.
Looking ahead, the president has a very important week as he readies for a long-awaited meeting with Russia's Vladimir Putin. The two are set to meet at the G20 summit in Germany later this week. Amber C. Strong reporting for CBN News in Washington.
Congressional Republicans have moved to stop the IRS from enforcing a rule that prevents pastors or churches from endorsing political candidates. House Republicans quietly included a provision in a sweeping spending bill that would deny the IRS money to enforce the 63-year-old rule, which is known as the Johnson Amendment. Some Democrats say the measure comes too close to mixing church and state, but Republicans say the IRS rule is unevenly enforced. They say some churches in Democratic areas are openly supportive of political candidates, even letting some speak from the pulpits, while some conservative churches try to avoid even the appearance of being political. The measure will be considered by the Appropriations Committee after Congress's recess for the 4th of July. The city of Pensacola, Florida, has decided to fight to keep a historical cross from being torn down. The Bayview Park Cross was first erected in 1941 under the direction of President Franklin D. Roosevelt as part of an Easter sunrise service. But a federal court ordered the 34-foot monument removed after a lawsuit claimed the cross violated the Constitution and was offensive to non-Christians. But hundreds of Pensacola residents who want to see the massive cross stay put rallied around it last week.
Almost annually, crosses were erected at this site. Sunrise services were held here. Thousands of people participated, and the military also participated in terms of the chaplains giving the message, bands playing and so forth. So in one form or another, it has been at this location since 1941. Great historical significance, showing that even our federal government at one time was erecting crosses on public property.
Pensacola Mayor Ashton Hayward told The Pulse the Constitution does not require us to erase our history just because part of that history is religious. The city has retained the legal service of the Washington, D.C.-based Becket Fund for Religious Liberty. It has agreed to take on the city's appeal at no charge.